Good evening, Canada. Allow me first to apologize for this interruption. I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of everyday routines. The morning coffee at Tim Hortons, the hockey game at your local pub, and the random Facebook refresh. I enjoy them as much as any Canuck. But in the spirit of freedom, the privilege to choose how you will spend the next few minutes, without any concern for the value of your web browsing time, I thought we could spend these next few minutes by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak. I suspect even now, cease and desist letters are being written to YouTube, and board members with lawyers will soon be pushing campaigns to further complicate your understanding of the issues. Why? Because in the world of information, the most useful weapons of the greedy, corrupt, and the bribed is the ignorance of its victims. Where the worst decisions made for the people must be done without the people knowing enough to protest. Some might have you believe the damage has been done, but I refuse to accept this, because while regulation and policies may be used to rob you of your bandwidth, the freedom of choice will always retain its power. Just as your local internet provider may choose to meter your usage and charge you obscene amounts to stream an online movie, download a new album, or play your favorite video game, you too have the freedom to choose. To encourage the rise of fairer rates and competition, to deny these companies another cent of your hard-earned Canadian dollar. For it's only when the people of a democratic society believe they have no options is it when the companies can take advantage of them. And in an act of solidarity and greed, internet providers all over the country will begin overcharging you for a resource that is no more costly to them than your usage of a water slide. While most pool centers have the common sense to build another slide, internet providers would rather charge you for how much more space you take, how fast you go down, how long you've been in line, and how much water is at the bottom when you arrive. No. Instead of preparing the nation for consuming larger amounts of information, they would rather charge you so much more to download so much less. And like many poor short-sighted decisions, we as a people suffer simply because somebody wants more money today. Such is the nature of scum, which so easily rises to the top to monopolize the sun and leave us with one simple truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with these companies, isn't there? Greed, deception, conspiracy, and selfishness? And where you once believed that companies had the common sense to understand that helping their common man made them better customers and increased the quality of life nationwide, you now have corrupt organizations like the CRTC and Bell making decisions that puts more money into the pockets of companies that were already gouging their customers for short-term profits. Customers that consist of their own sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, neighbors, and most ironically, themselves. How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly, there are those more responsible than others, and history will hold them accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you let it happen. I know you were complacent. Who wouldn't be? Today's society of choice and consumption has conspired to corrupt your sense of immediacy and personal stake in the world, where the most pressing decision is what restaurant to eat at tomorrow, or what show to watch on television tonight. Where micromanaging all these options can become so overwhelming, you decided to lend your minds to states of unconsciousness instead of dealing with either the present or the future. Do we really care? Does your sense of personal importance in this issue feel so small that you lack the ability to act? Are the conveniences that we are robbed of so important that we cannot live without them? And for the past decade, I've embraced the fact that consequences are worth living with, so long as I maintained my personal integrity. I've learned to abandon luxury when it was not based on a foundation of conscience. I've learned that fear does not exist when I don't live for the outcome of tomorrow. I live for the choices I make today, and when I choose A or B, I know who I am through those actions, and not through the consequences. If you ever had trouble deciding, just ask yourself what the ideal version of yourself would do. No, I don't fear consequences, and once I learn to conquer them, I learn to turn them back against my oppressors. So if you're the kind of person that continues to see nothing, if the crimes of these organizations remain unknown to you, then I would suggest you allow this conversation to pass through your other ear. But if you see what I see, and if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me on February 4th, as a Canadian citizen who fears not the consequences, and together we shall reap them back against our enemies, and give them a reckoning that they will never, ever forget.